A really important question here is where in the marketing funnel does my model actually fire, and kind of what's required of the customer in order to fire the model. I'll kind of put two classes here together.
Welcome to Affiliate Marketing for Lenders. I'm your host, Carlos Caro. Banks spend billions of dollars per year advertising in affiliate channels. It's a complex, high-stakes game, and I'm here to guide you through it. If you're a lender that wants to grow your affiliate program, you're in the right place. Let's dig in.
Today, I've decided to break up the podcast into 5 sections. The first 2 sections are for kind of newcomers to the affiliate space. So section 1 is going to be about how to build a list of potential affiliate partners. This section is for anyone starting from scratch or maybe only have a partner or two and aren't quite sure who to go contact and need some guidance on how to build that initial list. So I'll give you some practical ways to do that. What I'll say is, depending on your product, your category, the scale of your business, your brand, how broad your underwriting buy box is, there's a number of considerations here where if I learned more about you, your organization, I'd be able to kind of customize this list for you a little bit based on what I know about the landscape. So take section 1 as kind of some general guidelines if you want to just do some quick independent research. In part 2 of today's show, I'll talk about why getting into some of these affiliate channels isn't as easy as you think. There's some pretty important underlying dynamics here on the affiliate side that I want you to be aware of. And then that's going to lead naturally into part 3 of today's show, which is how you build your pitch for potential affiliate partners so that when you reach out, it's effective, they're excited to talk to you, and kind of conversations move forward. This is going to require more prep than maybe you planned on doing, but based on my experience doing this over and over again, I think you're going to find that it's worth it. Sections 4 and 5 of today's show, I think, are for more, maybe more advanced listeners. I think sections 1 through 3, you could easily skip. Like if you're already in the game, you've been in the channel, you have all your partners lined up, and you're really looking for, hey, how do I take my game here to the next level? I'd probably skip to section 4, where we're going to talk about where you host your targeting model. And what I mean by targeting model, it's effectively either your underwriting model or some proxy of your underwriting model. This is what's going to help your affiliate partners dial in their advertising to the people that are going to get approved by your product. There's a number of benefits of that for that. I think I talked about that in episode 1 to some degree, so I'm not going to rehash that episode. If you're interested in hearing about what I called the super lever, go back to episode 1, check that out, and kind of listen to strategically why that makes so much sense to invest in targeting models. Today we're just going to be talking about what are your options and what are these providers saying publicly about what they do. And then section 5, we'll close out with some guiding principles. So me and my business partner, Robert Cezo, we run a consultancy / advisory / agency. We don't really know what to call it yet. Been doing this for roughly a year. But the nature of our conversations with our partners often involve targeting models, how to build them, how to optimize them, how to manage them, how to scale them. So I see lots and lots of issues and challenges here, and I just want to give you just stuff to think about right out of the gate. If you haven't built anything yet and you just need a few tips on what to think about as you get started, I think this section is right up your alley. So with that, let's get right into section 1. So how to build a list of potential affiliate partners. Look, if I were to keep this really simple, I'm going to start with Google. So I'm in my browser. By the way, one thing I'd like to mention, just kind of as we go through the rest of the episode, I'm recording this on August 9th, 2024. So I'm going to be going to some web pages here, reading you descriptions of what folks are doing, what folks are saying about their products. And just be aware, that's the timestamp. We're looking at August 9th, 2024. All right, so again, back to how do I build my affiliate list? Let's just say I'm a rewards credit card issuer. What I'm gonna do is go to Google and just see what pops on like the first 2 to 3 pages. And what I'm looking for here is a couple things. One is I want to see results that aren't lenders themselves. That obviously isn't going to help you. You know, if you're a fintech card issuer, you're not going to go list your product on CapitalOne.com. That's one of the results I'm staring at right now. So you want comparison shopping. Ideally, you want affiliates that are buying ads from Google. That shows you that they're invested in scale and really driving as much audience as possible to their products. And then you're going to want some confirmation around, well, how much traffic do they actually drive? How many accounts could they do for you? Generally speaking, two ways of doing that. One is just looking at public filings, and two is just going to be, signing the NDA with each of these potential partners and just asking directly, how big is your marketplace? How much traffic do you do? They're going to ask you a bunch of questions about your funnel, your underwriting, and that'll help them dial in and give you an estimate. But what I found is affiliate partners tend to be very open when it comes to the broad range of results you might get. They're never going to know for sure until they launch your product, but I found that the range is usually right there in the right zip code. We're searching rewards credit cards. I'm just going to read to you. I'm in Google. I see NerdWallet. That's a marketplace. I see Built Rewards. That's a provider. I see Capital One. I see Forbes. So 2 out of the 4 sponsored ads here on Google are affiliates, i.e. Forbes and NerdWallet. So now we're in the organic results. US News Money, that's an affiliate for sure. Chase Bank. NerdWallet, we're seeing them again. Credit Karma, well-known affiliate. Wells Fargo, provider. Bankrate, well-known affiliate. CNBC, Yahoo Finance, Forbes. Now I'm on the bottom of page 1, and I see The Motley Fool, American Express, and Bank of America. If we go to page 2, now I'm looking at the points guide, Bank of America, Visa.com, The Motley Fool, Capital One, American Express, US Bankrate again. So if I were to go replay the list of affiliates here for rewards credit cards, kind of off of the top of my head here, we saw Bankrate, we saw NerdWallet, we saw Experian, we saw Credit Karma, Points Guy, Forbes, CNBC, US News Money. Look, that's a pretty reasonable hit list. If my partner manager came back to me and said, "Hey, Carlos, I want to, I'm considering doing some affiliate marketing. Here's my hit list. I want to go talk to these folks," I'd be nodding my head and saying, "Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable for that category." So other things you can do to build your list, the same exercise we just ran on Google, you could go do the same thing on Bing and Yahoo. People sometimes tend to forget that a non-trivial amount of search happens in those two search engines. Third, I would say consider going to some of these conferences and just meeting with people in the industry who can kind of guide you. This stuff moves fast, things change. Some affiliates kind of struggle and pull back on marketing materially. Others, get into growth mode. New affiliates pop up all the time. So kind of making friends in the industry will help you get acquainted with what's going on. So Affiliate Summit East, Affiliate Summit West, those types of conferences can be helpful. If you need help building a list for your specific business, I'd be happy to chat. My contact info is in the show notes. So now let's move to section 2 of the show, and we'll discuss why getting into an affiliate isn't as easy as you think. So let's just first start off with who you're trying to chase down at the affiliate. So generally it's a partner manager, a chief revenue officer, a head of partnerships, somebody like that. The nature of their work is twofold. They're nurturing existing partnerships and they're bringing in new partnerships. In my experience, having done this job myself, building teams that do this and having dealt with lots of partner managers on the other side as a lender, the majority of a partner manager's time is spent with existing partners. Rarely have I seen teams structured where there's individuals solely tasked with onboarding and finding new partners and bringing them in. So here's kind of the nature of what you're dealing with. The person you are cold emailing or cold LinkedIning or whatever your means of trying to get in touch with this person is back to back in meetings. They are often on internal and external calls. They are responding to partner emails in between calls. They're probably building decks for their internal execs. It's a highly dynamic, fast paced role where there's not a lot of free time for them to be sitting on LinkedIn or their inboxing wondering, I wonder if this new random person that contacted me is going to help me. Partner managers are generally going to be incentivized on top line revenue or something like that. And the easiest way for them to move the needle on that is going to be through existing partnerships, either by negotiating a CPA or launching an integration, or it could be a limited time offer. There's a number of different things that partner manager could be working on that's going to hit their bonus, hit their compensation. Rarely, if ever, are their quarterly goals onboarding the partner that reached out to them yesterday in their inbox. Their boss doesn't know about that partner. Their boss's boss doesn't know about that partner. Your email is going to be a distraction to this individual 99% of the time. So that's just what you're up against from kind of a, from a human, who you're dealing with perspective. If I take a step back and let's just architect for a second the revenue model of an affiliate marketplace. They have an audience hitting their pages, and their goal is to monetize that audience as best they can. Normally, they're dealing with a basket of offers that they already have through existing relationships. And when you come in as the new partner, they know because they've seen this many times before, the chances your incremental revenue to them are pretty low. More likely than not, you come into a category with 9 partners, and then your product is the 10th product, and revenue just redistributes among those. Used to be 9, now it's 10 products, but the top line for that affiliate partner probably doesn't move. It's just a redistribution thing. So look, it's good. Affiliates want diversification in their revenue. So if they only had, say, 1 partner or 2 partners in the category, and you're their 3rd partner, they're probably psyched about that. Not necessarily because they believe they're going to get incremental revenue, but because they know almost for sure that you're going to diversify their revenue pool in that category. If you can diversify their revenue, that's a selling point. If you have just a materially better funnel, okay? So let's say the average product in your category monetizes at 3%. 3% of clicks turns into approved customers and thus revenue for the affiliate. And you come in and say, I have a unique product. I have an awesome application flow. My targeting is really dialed in. You have the right data. I've done my research and my homework. And I'm going to convert this thing at 9. So I'm going to convert at triple. They're really going to take a close look at you because the opportunity to triple the efficiency in a business is unusual, and if true, and if it worked out at scale, they're moving the needle dramatically on their top line revenues. So revenue diversification, funnel efficiency. Third category here to kind of get them excited. And now we're kind of bleeding into like how to pitch your potential partner. So we didn't formally transition from section 2 to 3, but whatever, here we are. And just adding to the revenue incrementality piece of this. Yes, if your funnel's 3x better, that definitely works and that will be exciting. But another thing that's guaranteed to add incremental revenue to that affiliate is if you serve an audience that nobody else serves in their marketplace. And this just gets down into nitty-gritty of underwriting and buy boxes and things of that nature. But generally speaking, the classic example of this is, hey, I'm a fintech lender and I figured out a way to underwrite 540 to 560 FICO. And I have specific alternate data and I have ways to manage the risk and I do some stuff in my pricing, whatever the story is, right? The story doesn't matter. But if you can convince the affiliate partner that your approval rate is healthy in that FICO band, and they go look at their data and they see, oh, wow, our baseline approval rates in this FICO band are 3%, and these folks are claiming to approve it at 20, you have a very natural conversation. So the third pillar of your pitch could also be the fact that you offer a product or a feature that nobody else offers. So as an example of this, let's say I come in and I'm a credit card issuer and I say, hey, look, I've designed a credit card where my customers earn, I'm not going to go crazy here. They earn 15% on gas, groceries, dining. Okay. The affiliate's going to look at that and say, okay, wow, your funnel may not be any better. Your underwriting may not be any better. Your brand may not be any better. But you offer something fundamentally different that I think might attract a section of my customers disproportionately. You know, it's genuinely something I want my customers to have access to. Nobody else does that. So now I'm compelled to add you, even if I don't think you diversify my revenue or you add to my top line, because your product's cool and I want my customers to have access to it. So that could be a third pillar of your pitch. And then a fourth, and this one requires just a lot more understanding of the particular affiliate you're dealing with, and I think is most relevant to technology, fintechy type companies that can hustle when it comes to building tech integrations, that sort of thing. The story you're looking to build here for the affiliate is, hey, look, through our conversations, you've told me you want to build this really cool, unique experience. Let's just say, for the sake of the example, the affiliate wants to build a really clean, linear way for the customer to add the credit card into their Google Wallet or their Apple Pay after they've been approved in the application. That clearly would require a lot of integration between the lender and the affiliate. If you knew that was something on their roadmap and you felt like you had an edge, or you felt like you had the right team or the right resources or could add to their vision, and you'd be willing to lean in and do that with them, now you're selling. Again, their revenue might not get diversified, may not be incremental to their top line. Maybe the product you're offering isn't all that differentiated, but if you can help them build an experience that they think could be scalable among other partners, and you're kind of their co-design partner, co-builder in the early stages, like, that earns you a lot of credit in their eyes and makes it more likely they may onboard you. Recapping here, let's just kind of go through what we've covered so far real quick. We talked about how to build a list of potential affiliate partners. We talked about why getting in isn't as easy as you think. And then we talked about how to build a pitch for your potential partners. So now let's move to section 4 of this episode. Let me just kind of give some high-level context here before we go too deep. So what I'd like to do here is talk through some specific players out there that effectively can help you host your targeting model. But again, I want to motivate, like, why are we even talking about this? Why does this matter? We've gone through this in some prior episodes, but let's hit it in 30 to 60 seconds here. Again, the fundamental idea when you're doing affiliate marketing is you want to be the most efficient product out there. And by efficient, I'm generally talking about when your ad is served, that's kind of your denominator, number of impressions served. Your numerator is how many conversions do you generate for the partner. And you could even go farther. You could say, how many dollars am I generating for the partner? So our metric here is RPI. And we've talked about this a little before. Not all the affiliates optimize on RPI. Some of them optimize on revenue per click or some other algorithm that kind of is a proxy for that, or is a proxy to relevance. There's all sorts of ways these affiliates could decide to distribute their impressions. But if we ever had a doubt and just needed a simple model, I kind of always anchor back to RPI. A, it's simple to think about, and B, it's just kind of would make sense for most marketplaces to optimize around it. Anyways, if we're optimizing for RPI, one of the most critical things we can do is get our approval rate up. The reason we want to get our approval rate up is once we, like, if our baseline approval rate is 25, 30, and we get it up to 80 through targeting, our efficiency, our RPI basically tripled. So that's great. Furthermore, once I have my approval rate much higher, I can I can communicate the offer to the customer with a different level of certainty. I can tell the customer, for example, that they're very good, or they're amazing, or they're outstanding, or I could even go as far as saying pre-approved. Once I signal that high certainty to the customer, so now I'm compounding that roughly triple benefit I got on approval rate. I'm compounding it with click rate benefit. And I'm also going to see higher application rates because the customer is going to be more motivated to go through now that they know that they're very likely to be approved on the other side. This is why targeting models matter so much. It's because that approval rate metric, once I move it up materially, like we talked about, 30 to 80, my click rate goes up, my application rate goes up. It all compounds together. We went through this in a prior episode where we think we can get 4, 5, 6x leverage simply by getting obsessed with the super lever on approval rate. All right. So that's the motivation. That's what we're talking about, targeting models and hosting. What I'd like to get into here is like, all right, like where do you even go do this? Where do you go host targeting models? How does this stuff work? What I'll say is, unfortunately, there's not a lot of stuff that's out there publicly. I'm going to share some of what I found here today. But what I'd like to do on this podcast is get the operators of these hosting platforms, these targeting platforms, on the show so that you can hear it directly from them, how these platforms work, what data they have, who can use the platforms, what benefits do they have to lenders, what other features do they have embedded in these targeting platforms, how does it compare to direct mail, what credit bureaus do they work with, so on and so forth. You can start to see the number of questions and layers to the onion we can start to unpack. If you're an operator at Credit Karma, Experian, Monevo, Eagle Data, MoneyLion, Credit Sesame, those are just a few off the top of my head. If you're an operator at an affiliate that runs hosted models, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to have you on the show. With that, let's jump into what's out there on these hosting and targeting model platforms. So I'm going to start with Credit Karma Lightbox. So there's an article here I'm staring at. It's actually a little dated. I'll put the links in the show notes so you can go check them out for yourselves. And also just so I'm documenting where all this stuff came from. So we're on creditkarma.com. The August 31st, 2021 is when this article was published, and it's in Credit Karma's press room. Credit Karma welcomes Team Bitmatica. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole article here, but I'm going to read some snippets that start to talk about Lightbox, so you have a feel for how Credit Karma talks about this. So here we go. Now I'm quoting. Lightbox allows lenders to leverage thousands of de-identified data points from Credit Karma members to help us provide our members with greater certainty that they will be approved if they apply. The Bitmatica team will be working on improving Lightbox workflows in order to make the platform easier for Credit Karma's various financial product partners. The Bitmatica team will also be aiming to help Credit Karma's financial product partners customize Lightbox offers for the specific needs of our members. Lightbox provides 3 crucial elements: certainty, control, and speed that help our partners and members alike. Here's how. Bullet 1, certainty. Members can apply for financial products that they have a high likelihood to be approved for, which helps eliminate much of the uncertainty involved when applying for financial products. Bullet 2, control. Lenders have traditionally targeted consumers through slower marketing channels like direct mail. With Lightbox, lenders can set parameters for the type of borrowers they'd be willing to lend to and make adjustments in real time as market conditions or other factors change. This gives them control of their business in a way that didn't exist before. Bullet 3, speed. Historically, banks and other financial institutions have not been equipped with the tools needed to make quick changes to their marketing strategies. Changes that used to take weeks, requiring manual updates and engineering support, can now be done through Lightbox in minutes without the help of an engineer. This ability to make changes quickly helps businesses react fast, limiting the risk to the business. This was a key differentiator during the most uncertain times of the pandemic. And then they close with a couple paragraphs around joining forces with Bitmatica. It's not really about Lightbox. I'm not going to read the rest. Let's skip next to Monevo. I'm going to Monevo, Monevo.com, and let's read. So I'm on their homepage, and I'm going to be quoting now as I read through their homepage. The headline banner: Next Generation Credit Pre-Qualification Platform and API. Monevo empowers over 150 credit providers and banks to host, manage, and distribute pre-qualified credit offers. There's a button that says for credit providers, and then a different link right next to it that says I'm a publisher. Trusted by Red Ventures, Credit Karma, Lending Tree, USwitch, US Bank, Ally are the logos shown here on their trusted by on their homepage. Now I'm reading a tab called For Providers. Host, manage, and distribute credit offers with Monevo's next generation platform. Host offers and credit strategies on Monevo's next generation platform. Update offer information, credit rules, and models in real time. Distribute. White label Monevo's flexible API to deliver your offers to aggregators and other third-party sites at scale. Embed. Leverage and embed Monevo's market-leading white label forms, results, and customer onboarding flows to optimize customer experience and conversions. Grow. Grow customer acquisition by accessing over 2 million new customers each month from Monevo's partner marketplace. See how Monevo could empower your business. There's a button that says Request Demo, and I'm looking now here, and there looks like maybe there's some case studies. I'll read you the headlines for the case studies. Canopy and Monevo, a partnership to empower renters' financial health. Another one, maybe these are press releases. Plend and Monevo partner to provide more inclusive lending options. Then I'm at the bottom of the page now. See how Monevo has empowered over 150 credit providers and banks. Request a demo button. Okay, that is Monevo. Let's move now to Eagle Data. I'm going to eagledata.biz. BIZ. Their headline: Lender and prospect matching with ease. Eagle Data helps financial institutions deliver the right message and the right offer to the right customer. Schedule a demo button. I'm scrolling down the page. There's a headline that says Lender Benefits and a few bullets. Targeting. Real-time matching of prospects to lender underwriting ensures high approval rates and leads to positive selection. Increase revenue. Optimize your profitability with real-time monitoring. Clean A/B testing. Easily control all elements of A/B testing and control groups. Brand reputation. Minimize the cost of declining offers and maintaining your brand reputation. Account economics. Optimize your economics at an account level. The bottom banner here says schedule a demo. Customers will be required to sign an NDA prior to receiving a demo from Eagle Data. Then there's a schedule a demo button. Our industries listed: credit cards, personal loans, collections accounts, auto loans, student loans, home equity, and retail financing. This goes on. I'm not going to read all this, but there's a banner around world-class security. In good company, it says 8 credit card companies and 12 lenders. Consumer benefits, and again, we have a schedule a demo. And there's an email here at the bottom of the page and a phone number. Another platform I'm familiar with here that does, or I guess is investing in hosted models, is MoneyLion. And I'll read you a snippet from their CEO, D. Shuby. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm quoting: We're investing in engineering resources to develop even deeper integration with financial institutions by hosting their decision models to make the checkout experience more seamless for the consumer. I'll put in the show notes the full earnings call. He doesn't expound too much on this in the earnings call, but it does signal their investment in hosted models. Lastly, I'll just mention Experian Activate and Credit Sesame Connect. These are 2 other publishers / hosted model platforms that I'm familiar with. I looked around, I couldn't find almost anything that's public around these. So if you're an operator at these 2 marketplaces, I'd particularly love to speak with you around Activate and Connect and learn more about how they work, how they're different from some of the other ones I've mentioned that are out there, and how lenders could partner with you to bring these targeted offers to your customers. So that's kind of what I was able to dig up here on hosted. I want to leave you with some questions to ask these hosted model providers. I assume if you're interested in building out these programs, you're going to be reaching out to these folks and kind of having conversations directly with them on how their systems work and whether or not it might be a right fit for your product, your organization. Here's some questions I would recommend that you ask as you approach them, just so you kind of round out your understanding of each of these options. So the first one is just kind of going straight to the data. You're going to want to know what credit bureaus they work with, not only which bureaus, but what exact attributes. So the way to ask this question often is like, hey, can you send me a data dictionary that tells me the exact names of the attributes and the exact definitions of the attributes? Because what you're going to want to do is compare the attributes they have on the front end or in their model building environment or their hosting environment. You're going to want to compare that to your backend, and the more things match, the better. So you'll ask for the data dictionary. For example, let's say you use Clarity data on the backend. You want to ask them specifically, do they have Clarity data? If so, which attributes? Next would be, how often is the data refreshed? So are they calling your model in real time? Are they batching data periodically and scoring the data based off of batches? It's important for you to have an understanding of the data refresh, because if there's data drift between their data environment and yours, that's going to have model building implications for you as you think about, well, which attributes do I want to use for this hosted model integration? You're going to want to find attributes that drift the least, especially if you're dealing with a partner that has data that's a little bit aged from your own. Your backend's going to be real time almost always, but if your affiliate partner only batches the data in, I'm making this up, let's say they only batch it in once every few days or every week, then you're going to want to factor that in as you think about how you design your model and what attributes you pick. Next, you'll ask them how you'll actually upload your model into their environment. I'm guessing your security team is going to have a bunch of questions on, how is your model secured? Is it safeguarded? Can people at the partners organization actually see your model, or is it firewalled off somehow? So there's a question here of, how do I upload it? And, is it a Python file? Is it a PMML file? Like, how does this all work? Or do I just give you like C++ or C code and you're going to code it for me? Like, I've seen this done a lot of different ways. So you ask them how you're going to get the model uploaded, and then there may be some related questions there around security. You'll probably want to get a demo of their UI. So not all, but some of these players I mentioned here in today's episode have a UI where you can go in and play with settings and kind of do stuff on your own. If you're a performance marketer, think something like Google AdWords, where you can go in and fiddle around with settings and deploy. So you'll probably want to see that. You'll ask questions around custom attributes. So this is only relevant if you build your own attributes based off of trade line information from the credit bureaus. But you'll want to understand if the affiliate partner will let you build and mimic your custom attributes from the back end into the front end. In the event you hear no on custom attribute building, you can always adjust your back end for that specific affiliate channel to use the more standard kind of out of the box attributes. So a really important question here is, where in the marketing funnel does my model actually fire, and kind of what's required of the customer in order to fire the model? I'll kind of put two classes here together. One are they kind of host models at the top of the funnel. So the ways those work is they have their customers' credit data, they have your model in the background, and when the customers show up or log in most cases, the provider, the affiliate, the model hoster is running your model and then only displaying your ad to the folks that qualify. So I consider that top of funnel. And in those cases, the customer is actually not even asked for any information, because the affiliate partner already knows who they are. They have access to the data. They just fire the model, and then bam, an offer that with that high certainty of approval is put in front of the customer, and they can click through and kind of get into the application flow if they want. The second type is what I call mid-funnel, and these generally are like the classic pre-qualification flows where I show up, I give you my name, address, zip, last four social, that sort of thing. And then the provider runs a soft inquiry. They actually go ping the bureaus, they run your model, they're getting the data back in real time, but it requires the customer to consent to a soft inquiry and fill out form. So the trade-off here, since it's a little bit more down funnel, there's more friction here for the customer to insert their information. But on the other side of the coin, the data can be a little bit more fresh. Those are kind of the two approaches, the top funnel and the mid funnel. Lastly, ask around just the core economics of it. So I've seen this go a couple different ways. Some of these providers don't charge you any incremental fees or subscriptions or anything else other than what they would have normally charged you in their CPA. So basically the way those deal structures work is you come in, you agree on the CPA, and the targeting platform is kind of offered to you for free, so to speak. The reason someone might do that is because the efficiency of the offers on their end is actually going to go up. So it's in their best interest to give you all the tools to make that approval rate as high as possible. That way they monetize their ads. So I've seen that model. I've also seen some models where if the model hoster is decoupled from the affiliate partner, like they're not the affiliate themselves, they're a third party, and their job is to host the models and keep them secure and give you analytics, etc. Those may decide to say, hey, there's a subscription fee, or you're going to charge me a percentage of your CPA with the publisher. There's a lot of different ways this could go down. All right, let's close out today's episode with some guiding principles here on targeting models. So number one is keep the same data and credit bureau on both sides of the model. And when I mean both sides, I mean the front end model that your affiliate is hosting, that they run on your behalf, and the back end model that you run when someone applies and generates a hard inquiry. Your goal here is to have same data on both sides, same model on both sides, literally carbon copies. It sounds very simple, and I can't tell you how in practice this is rarely the case. And the reason this is rarely the case is folks show up with an Experian backend and they go partner with an affiliate that has TU, and all of a sudden they're creating a proxy model and they're doing all sorts of stuff on the front end that's very different from the back end, and then they run it, and then the approval rate's 55% when everyone was hoping it would be 80 or 90, and everyone's wondering why. And the reason is because there's a lot of drift between these various bureaus. There's drift between Vantage and FICO. There's drift between slight definitions and nuances on an attribute like utilization or delinquencies. It's kind of a hot mess when you have different bureaus and different attributes on both sides. Look, it's doable, and it's better than not targeting at all. So I'm not saying throw it all away if that's what you're doing today, not by any stretch, but as a guiding principle, if you want to be world class at this, you're going to have the same data and the same models on both sides. So you want a perfect match. The next thing is you want to choose attributes in your model on the back end and the front end that minimize drift between the two models. I hinted at this earlier in the episode, but if your affiliate partner's data lags from the data that you're going to be running on the back end, so if it's not real time effectively, even if it's a day or two behind, like in the past, you're going to want to know how much that data changes from one day to the next. And if your model's stacked with attributes that drift a ton, then that's going to hurt your approval rate, because yes, you have the same model and same data on both sides, but the timing of the data isn't right. So you can solve that problem by minimizing the drift of the attributes that you select. That's principle 2. Principle 3 is, look, keep things simple. Like if you're running some fancy model with 3,000 attributes and it's really complicated and it takes a lot of time to run, that's just going to create friction to translate that model into your partner's ecosystem. They're going to have runtime issues. So keep the model simple. Control the number of attributes in there. The fewer the better, because you're going to have to go in there and maintain not only your backend, but your front end model. Number 4, resource this seriously, i.e. staffing. You're going to need a data scientist, a credit analyst, an analytics person. There's real work here in maintaining these targeting models. So If your expectation is that you're going to set it up once and forget about it, you're going to be really, really disappointed when you find that your approval rate drop and you have to go in there and recalibrate the model, or your partner's holding you to a certain approval rate in order to give you the badging on the front end for kind of the approval certainty. So get real staff, get people that know what they're doing. Ideally, they've worked at one of these affiliates that host the models, or they've worked at a lender that has run programs here in the past. If you get new people that haven't worked with this before, consider getting outside help to help you do this right. I'm happy to talk to you if that's a place where you need some help thinking through it. And then the fifth here is consider building bespoke / custom backend models for your affiliate programs. Earlier, I said keep this simple on the back end and just in general, but that doesn't mean you have to dumb down your risk model in general. You could decide to have a different risk model that applies to a certain affiliate channel because it plugs in and plays much better with that ecosystem and with that specific partner. I'm not a legal and compliance person, so if there's challenges with that, obviously heed their advice on whether or not that's kosher. But from a pure business perspective, that's what I would be looking to do, is keep a fairly simple model that's highly aligned with the affiliate. Maybe I lose a point or two on risk prediction or sloping. Operationally, it's going to be worth it in most cases, because your model is going to be more aligned, your approval rate is going to be much higher, and as a result, you're going to get a lot more throughput from your affiliate channels. So those are the principles I'll leave you with today. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way you can help me is by sharing this with a colleague on social media and just writing a little blurb around what you found helpful and why you think it's worth it for someone to check it out. And then lastly, my business partner and I are super familiar with these models and these targeting platforms and how they work. So if we can assist you or be of any help, we'd be happy to chat. Contact info is in the show notes. So thanks for listening. I'll see you soon.